Ziva Lagos is a ready-to-wear fast fashion made in Nigeria brand. Ziva Kids is the same but for kids and a toy store. What I love most about my job, I think just creating, birthing new things, new ideas, new concepts, new designs. It's very exciting, especially now that I think the world is focused on Africa right now, and I am honored to be part of the creative industry. I decide on the brands I want to work with based on what I feel matches my brand and the journey, my journey, and the direction that I'm trying to go into. My thoughts on influencer marketing in Nigeria, I think it has evolved a lot as well. So much has changed in the last 3 years, and for me, I'm on both sides. So I'm an influencer, but I'm also a CEO.
Welcome to our panel, Digital Marketing in Africa. Nice to have you all with us. Let me do introductions first. I am Guido. I am the Commercial Counselor at Advantage Austria Lagos here in Nigeria. I'm very pleased to host this panel. Our office here in Lagos covers 14 African countries, beginning in the west with Sierra Leone and more or less following the coastline down to the two Congos, with the exception of Ivory Coast, which is covered by our colleagues at our office in Casablanca. A very warm welcome to our panelists, to Ms. Ozinna ANUMUDU, the Managing Director of TSSC Agency in Lagos, Nigeria. We will call each other by first name here. Ozinna is also the manager of our Austrian Lace Goes social media campaign, which is a campaign to promote lace made in Austria in Nigeria. Ozinna will surely let us know more about this campaign. We'll present this campaign later on during our panel. We have Felix STEINER with us, the marketing manager of Eisenkraft. Eisencraft is an Austrian company based in Graz, Austria. The company produces special equipment for metalworking workshops, equipment which I personally find fascinating. And what I found fascinating as well, a while ago, some years ago, when I learned that although the company does not produce consumer products, it uses social marketing and has been doing so for a while in Africa. And last but not least, we have Pamela Wagner with us, MD of Ajala Digital, an Austrian firm, but Pamela is and has been active in Africa, in West Africa, for instance, in Ghana, and is able to tell us, to speak to us out of her long practice of carrying out digital marketing in Africa. So once more, welcome to all our panelists. Very happy to have you with us today. And of course, also a very warm welcome to our audience. We are holding this panel because of our audience. So wonderful to have you with us as well. Some basic facts and figures briefly on Africa's digital development. Africa, a continent of about 1.3 billion people, is digitally developed in a way which some of us wouldn't know about. Internet penetration in Africa is estimated to be approximately 36% at present. That means about 473 million people in Africa use online services. And despite the current infrastructure challenges, an additional 300 million people in Africa are expected to come online within the next 2 to 3 years. So towards the end of 2025, there should be about 770 million people on the African continent using internet services. As of December of last year, Nigeria, Africa's most populous nation with about 210 million people, had more than 150 million internet users, the highest number reported in all of Africa, which to a certain extent is also natural, as Nigeria is the most populous nation in Africa, and approximately every 6th African is actually a Nigerian. Second in place is Egypt, with about 55 million users in 2020. In Nigeria, one of the countries with the largest number of internet users worldwide, 74% of web traffic was generated via smartphones and roughly 24% via PCs, via computers. This is at least partly due to the fact that mobile connections are much cheaper and do not require the infrastructure that is needed for traditional desktop PCs with fixed line internet connections. Nigeria, just to give you an example, Nigeria is a country with an incredibly big portion of young population. About 63% of Nigerians are not older than 24 years of age. Teenagers and young adults are obsessed with the internet, are obsessed with what's being offered there, and are carrying their mobile devices around with them wherever they are. The World Bank and the African Development Bank report that about 650 million mobile users are to be found in Africa at present, surpassing the number of mobile users in the United States or in Europe. The number there, I hope you will all be seeing this slide here of ours, which shows the number of internet users in selected countries in Africa. By December 2020, you will again see Nigeria as the most populous nation in Africa with more than 150 million users, Egypt with more than 50 million users, followed by Kenya with almost 47 million users. Here we have a brief overview of the different platforms which are being used in Africa. This is fairly recent data. So this shows Facebook is the leading platform with about 77% of users using Facebook, followed by YouTube and Twitter. All other platforms are used to a much smaller extent. Although I must say, I feel that there are special sections within the group of users which do, for instance, use Instagram also quite frequently. But I'm sure our experts Ozinna and Pamela will tell us more about this. When marketing in Africa think social media, I think that is something which is right to say. We are right to say because I think that social media in marketing in Africa is not yet that much on the map within many Austrian companies. So that's an appeal by me, and I think that's how I wish to end my introduction. And with that, I wish to pass the floor to Pamela of Ajala Digital. Please, Pamela.
Thank you so much, Guido. What a great introduction. I think, as you have all seen by now, is that a lot of people are just on mobile devices. Like, you have to consider mobile devices when marketing in Africa. And you also have to consider that a lot of people might still be used to other ways of communication than we are. And I'll go into that in depth in a little bit. Now, I want to rewind a bit and go back to why did I decide to go Africa, and why, did I decide to do business in Ghana and other countries. Now, my, let's call it a love story with Africa, started more than a decade ago when I decided to go to Nigeria to work on an entrepreneurship project there. And I barely knew anything. To be honest, I went to the country because I mostly knew negative stuff about it. And, my family gave me quite a strange eye when I said, at the age of 18, I'm going to Nigeria to work there. But little did I know that what I found was not just an incredible potential, a completely different and positive side of the story that is often untold, but also people that are just willing to do, willing to learn, and just have a drive like I have seen pretty much nowhere else in the world. I always tell a lot of friends that, you can put a Nigerian anywhere and you be sure you're going to survive and do something amazing. And so with that sparked my passion for the continent. It sparked the drive that I knew I could make a difference and paint a different picture to people. And that was more a picture of wealth, that wealth exists in various forms, right? That people have incredible potential and skills, and that it is just a continent, right? When we speak about Africa, we got to speak about a continent, 54 countries, that has so many opportunities to offer, so much growth, and pretty much whatever business you have, there is an opportunity there to succeed and to have a market, right? Now, when we speak specifically about Ghana is a country that got on my list or more like the map for me in 2015 when I went there to check out the office of Google where I was working back then. And while I was there only for about a week, I just kept meeting Ghanaians all over the world. And last year, I decided to go back there. Now, one of the main reasons was that within, these crazy last 1 to 2 years that we've had, Ghana was really more of a country where life and business was still going on mostly as usual. You could still live life almost normally. And having built up a network of literally Ghanaians all over the world, that was also for me an easy entry point into the market because I already knew so many people, major decision makers in a lot of really big and known companies in Ghana. And the other aspect for me was that when you look at especially West Africa, Ghana is kind of like the calmer of the two giants there when you compare it with Nigeria. It's a little bit more relaxed, and then life is still, it's not as speedy, right? And of course, we have much less traffic there. Everybody who's been to Nigeria knows exactly what I'm talking about. And so I connected with the people on the ground and we created some workshops all around digital marketing, Google ads, Facebook ads. And people are really, really hungry for knowledge. And especially when you manage to, or when you have this kind of like foreign brand or imprint, it's not just, people don't just listen even a lot more, but when we talk about like pricing, they're also willing to pay a bit more for that, right? And not that to say that people on the ground don't have amazing knowledge and skills, but there is a certain like level up experience that I noticed that I could offer with the experience that I had globally, working at Google, working with companies all over, not just the continent, but all over the world in digital marketing. And so pretty much very quickly, it was easy to, get participants, connect with major stakeholders on the ground, and really be there. Now,
Pamela,
yeah.
May I just interrupt you there for a moment? So how did you manage to enter the Ghanaian market? What were your first steps?
So for me, I think the major aspect was that I was able to build up a network of Ghanaians before, right? And that I'd been to the country once. And then through them, I was able to easily get access to being on radio shows, on TV shows, on promoting what I do. So really like nurturing that network. And that is something that I've been doing with a lot of countries. And it's something that what we also see with any country in Africa is you have to be on the ground. People there need to see, feel your presence. They are a lot of times not yet as much used to online communication as we are. And so when you're out of sight, you're pretty much out of mind. So a big advantage for me was that I really had invested the time of being there locally and at the front, if you want to say so.
Yeah. I mean, in your case, it's of course maybe a different way of entering the market than it would be for many Austrian companies which are themselves not into digital marketing, but who companies that offer, be it investment, say capital goods, or be it consumer goods. In your case, it's services, and it's digital marketing services, digital services. You are an expert, so your way of entering the market would, of course, be a bit different from the way other Austrian companies, which are producers of products, of conventional products, would have to approach the market. Yeah.
Absolutely.
And what would you say? What are the major differences which you found exist between the digital and social media landscape in Ghana and in Austria, in Europe?
So while probably a lot of material that is produced for social media is probably more sophisticated in Austria, in Ghana, or like in general in sub-Saharan Africa, a lot of stuff is done much more mobile, right? Like people run their whole businesses on mobile phones, right? So a lot of times I still see people just not wisely spending their budget, also spending it on desktop, or maybe a little bit too much still on offline material, instead of really pouring their whole heart into mobile. And when we talk mobile, we talk about being present on Instagram, doing stories, doing reels. We got Facebook. Like, it's super, super important to be present on the mobile devices. And also probably you want to get acquainted to doing business on WhatsApp. That's another huge aspect for people.
Yeah. That's what we definitely also see here in Nigeria. Mobile, I think that's a key word, and WhatsApp is very widely used, yes.
Absolutely, yeah.
And what would you consider the major challenges and opportunities when marketing digitally in West Africa, especially in West Africa?
So while I would say that a couple of years ago, we would have still said internet is a challenge, I definitely don't see that anymore. Internet is getting a lot better. The big companies like MTN, Airtel, and so on are investing a lot in like broadband, 5G networks, and so on. So most people, even those of the lowest income bracket, have access to internet and have access to smartphones, right? So one of the major challenges that I would say Austrian companies will probably face is the aspect of really having to invest in in-person communication. I've seen it with me, like when I'm on the ground, it is easy to communicate with people. It's easy to build up a network. It is almost, easy to get a feel for people, for the market. But as soon as you're out of the country, it really becomes a challenge because people are a lot of times not yet used to keeping up an online communication or to nurturing networks online as we do, right? So this is kind of like the main challenge. In terms of opportunities, I would encourage people to really also make use of mobile money and mobile payments, like whatever service, goods, or whatever you offer, this should be part of your strategy. Have QR codes present on your images, right? Something that people can access easily on their phones. And also because the media landscape is still new and oftentimes unused, a lot of advertising is still rather cheap. So even with a rather smaller budget, it can often go a long way. And what I've seen with some of the biggest companies on the continent, like their budget is the budget of a small or medium-sized business in Austria. So there's a lot that you can do with very little.
So a very good cost to result ratio.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Pamela. We'll still hear you later on during our panel. Let me pass on the floor to Felix Steiner of Eisenkraft GmbH. Felix is the marketing manager at Eisencraft for this region of Africa. And Felix, in which African markets do you sell your products so far?
Okay. Thank you, Guido, and thank you, Pamela. This was very great insight from you. We are selling worldwide, direct selling at trade fairs and exhibitions and seminars and so on. And I took some notes because I was thinking about where in Africa do we have been. It is Kenya, Tanzania, Uganda, Burundi, Rwanda, South Africa, Mozambique, Angola, Zambia, Ethiopia, Sudan, Cameroon, Nigeria, Ghana, Burkina Faso, Senegal, both the Congos, Morocco, Algeria, Libya, and Egypt, and I think at least 2 or 3 I forgot.
Wow. Okay, very impressive. Incredible. And in all these markets, you are selling your equipment for metalworking workshops?
Yes, so our Eisencraft metal bending machine tools, they are for the professional production of wrought iron products. Main advantages are there is no additional, almost no additional infrastructure like factory setup and so on required. So no compressed air is necessary. You do not need 380 volt power outlets. Can use a small space, but you're running your own factory. With a very little investment, everyone can make a good business, and not much of no prior knowledge necessary or special trainings and so on. All this is not necessary anyway. It is provided, but it's not really necessary because everybody with a brain and 2 hands can handle our machines very easily. Trust me, I can do it too.
I was so impressed when I learned about the fact that you selling workshop equipment made use of social media in your marketing efforts.
Yes.
Maybe can you just briefly maybe tell us how did you manage to enter into these markets? What were your means? Did you pay frequent visits to the markets? Did you make use of fairs and exhibitions? What's the way? How did you enter these markets? All these many markets in Africa.
So pre-COVID, it was a different situation. We have been really traveling a lot. Now we're sitting a lot at home. But pre-COVID, we have been at so many fairs in Africa and in the rest of the world. And so at all those fairs, you not just meet the buyers, you also meet potential business associates from other countries. And once you conclude with someone, this is the very first thing. Once you have a local counterpart, then we can start and do an exhibition over there. Because for the importation and for the builds and so on, we do need a local counterpart. No, we can't go there just by ourselves. We need the local backup. And then, yeah, well, a good trade fair is always a very good starting point to get the people to understand, to know, and then hopefully love and buy our products. And at the other hand, since we have been doing this for the last 50 years, times have changed. So in some countries, TV advertisements, they have been very affordable. So we just made the advertisement entirely to get those people from the specific country to meet us at the fair, because it's not necessarily that this is in the same city. Sometimes, especially in Africa, it can require lengthy travel times or flights to reach that destination. You know, for example, when we are in Abuja, yeah, then we are in Abuja, but the Lagos people also want to buy. So when we previously can let them know that we will be there, then we have an advantage, of course, a wider spread. But unfortunately, the TV situation, these channels, you know, they have a lovely structure of raising the price in a day-by-day basis. Sometimes I think when 1 year you pay a certain amount and the next year they want four times, a quadruple. So where you say, come on, this doesn't pay off. I don't think it will pay off. So we came to the conclusion, let's try with Facebook. Because as Pamela has already mentioned, look at the mobile usage in Africa. The mobile, everybody is on mobile data. And this is good. And that is something, okay, this is then giving us just another tool, how to spread the reach, to get to more people, to know when are we where. And this is why we started with this regional Facebook campaigns. And we have had good results because it did a good contribution to our outcomes at the exhibition, because many of our clients, they came more prepared. They were already prepared. Okay, I'm coming there for a business deal, not just I'm coming there to watch a demo. No, I'm coming for a business deal. This is a different story then. Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt. No, please.
Yeah, and so so far Facebook was a good thing for us to point to our upcoming events. Using Facebook for the means of selling via it, this is a very difficult due to the uniqueness of our products. This might be working if you sell energy drinks or so on, I think totally well, but for our product more difficult. On this way, we make some sales, but this is not so much as we would be hoping for. No? The best is always, if we get good attended fairs, then we do the best business, and to get the right clients to the events where we are taking part in the various countries, we use the social media to get more attraction.
So you basically, if I understand it correctly, you mainly use participations in fairs and exhibitions, and you use Facebook very successfully to get potential partners, to get final customers to these fairs, to engage with them there. That's your social media tool of choice, and that works well.
Yeah, this is correct. And this fits into our system, as I mentioned before. Our product is not, it needs a direct approach. It is not an easy selling internet item.
Yeah. No, it was amazing for me to learn that a producer of non-consumer goods from Austria, a producer of equipment for workshops, could use Facebook successfully in its marketing efforts in Africa. So thank you for shedding light on this for us, Felix.
You're most welcome.
We'll also still be talking to you further on during our panel. And now to Ozinna ANUMUDU, the Managing Director of TSC Agency in Lagos. welcome Ozinna. Would you be so kind to briefly introduce your firm's activities, especially your activities in the social media space?
Yes, of course. Thank you for having me. So my name is Ozinna ANUMUDU, and I'm the MD and founder of TSC Agency. TSC Agency is an agency located in Lagos, Nigeria, that bridges the gap between brands and their audiences. And we do this via social media, digital activations, physical events, and whatever strategy or project the client is interested in. So we work with several brands across different industries here in Nigeria. There's a company called Zaran Cosmetics. Zaran Cosmetics is one of our first Nigerian makeup brands that has been in Nigeria for about 10 years. They stock internationally as well. They recently just launched a skincare line. So TSC Agency was responsible for launching the skincare brand for them, which also involved some influencer marketing as well as a physical event for them. Transcorp Hilton is one of the biggest hotels in Nigeria. They just launched an app called Aura. Aura is an online booking accommodation app because they've realized that except from physical hotels, people want to book short stay at apartments and book restaurants and book activities. So TSC Agency was responsible for the launch of the Aura app in terms of engaging all the influencers for them, curating the experiences, ensuring that all the content that was created during the event and the activation was shared on the appropriate social media platforms, the most relevant influencers in the various fields. So we had influencers in fashion and lifestyle, in technology. They were there as well. Eutelsat, which is a French company, recently launched an internet service in Nigeria, and they were trying to have a press activation as well as engaging influencers to attend the event. So TSC Agency put this together. So I went to school in the United States. I did my master's in Paris, and when I moved back to Nigeria, what I realized was that social media wasn't being utilized as well as it should here. And I happen to also be an influencer in the Nigerian space. So running an agency allows me to communicate the audience needs. And also as an influencer, I have an idea of how the clients want to see the influencers translate their campaigns, as well as being an influencer allows me to understand the important factors the influencers look for when they do campaigns with various brands.
Yeah. When did you return from the States, Sina?
I left the States in 2012 and moved to Paris. Then I returned to Nigeria January 2014. So I've been back in Nigeria for about 7 years now. So
at that time you felt that Nigeria was not right up to speed yet on digital marketing, but that has changed. Yes, that has definitely changed. So when I moved back, I noticed social media wasn't up to speed in sense of how, you know, in America or in Paris, when you wanted to shop, you could just go on your social media and click on a platform and go shopping and find items to buy. But in Nigeria, we couldn't really do that because not that many businesses were as strong on social media, or they didn't have their own platforms and their websites. So that's why I started my website called Ozinna.com, which is the first of its kind, an e-commerce website here in Nigeria where you can shop and buy Nigerian pieces. And again, just like my agency, the job with the platform is that we do the same thing. We bridge the gap between brands and their audiences. So the average Nigerian woman can go online and see an outfit that I'm wearing. And if she likes it, she can go on my platform and shop it directly. And obviously this started in 2014. So there's been a lot of growth between 2014 and 2021, both on the agency side and both on the platform side. Yeah. No, impressive development here in Nigeria and I believe in most parts of Africa. Sina, thank you very much. One further question. You are heading the Austrian Lace Goes digital social media campaign in Nigeria. Could you just briefly, in a nutshell, tell us a bit about this campaign? What are the key objectives of the campaign and how do you plan to reach them? This is probably one of the most exciting campaigns I've worked on. And the Austrian Lace Goes digital campaign is exciting because it gets
it allows us kind of showcase a Nigerian elements to a new project. So what we realized is, like you mentioned earlier, the youth and people in their 20s are really the people who are active on social media and the people who are here. And so with this campaign, what we're doing is we're partnering with Lagos Fashion Week, which is one of the biggest, if not the biggest fashion platform in Nigeria. And we're going to have a segment whereby we showcase some of the Austrian laces from about 6 different Austrian lace manufacturers. And what TSE has done is we've carefully identified extremely creative Nigerian designers who will, create their own pieces from this. So my agency has come up with the themes and the direction. And for the last 2-3 months, we've been working very closely with the designers who are going to do a showcase at Lagos Fashion Week, just, showing people that these fabrics are very beautiful, they're very wearable, and they're still as, so I think what happened was, in the past, our mothers had specific styles they always made with Austrian lace. It's called Iro and Buba, which is basically a top and a wrapper. That was the most popular thing it's been for years. But with this collection, we're seeing people making blazers, we're seeing them making dresses, we're seeing them making kimonos. We're just seeing them infuse the lace in different ways. Some designers are playing with leather, playing with lace, and just basically showing you that there's a new trajectory for this journey in fashion. Mm-hmm. And so the campaign begins with the designers first. And then from the designers, we move over to influencer marketing, because like we've said, influencer marketing is something that's big here. So after the designers have showcased the collections, we're using influencers to amplify the designs being done with the Austrian lace. And after that segment, the next point of it will be to use the digital platforms in Nigeria. We have very prominent digital platforms that are very strong on social media. So these platforms will be used to promote what we're doing. So it's a very exciting campaign.
One last question. How do you mentioned the role of influencers before. How would you rate the importance of influencers for social media marketing in Africa?
Influencer marketing is something that's very important in Nigeria and in Africa, and I actually think globally as well, but more so in Africa, because influencers are now playing a very strategic role as being the go-between with a lot of brands and audiences. And what has happened is, typically in the past before, a lot of international brands, when they come into Africa, they tend to just replicate the same campaigns they have abroad. But what they realize now is that their audiences are much smarter. The audiences demand more from the brands and from the merchandise and the products. So what they tend to do now is reach out to influencers who understand the wants and the demands of the audience. They understand what people are looking for with the brands. And so a lot of times people realize that influencers can make or break certain campaigns, because with the influencers, you can reach your audience more directly, you can talk to them, you can get direct feedback, you can see direct return on your investment. So influencer marketing is something that's extremely important and big here.
In Africa. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you, Sina. I think with that, let's move to a brief discussion still. We have a few minutes left. Maybe a question, Pamela, to you. What would be your advice for Austrian companies with regard to what works and what doesn't work in Africa in social marketing?
Yeah, good question. So what doesn't work, and that might not just be specific to Africa, but like everywhere, do not focus anymore on just getting likes for your pages or followers. The platforms do not prioritize that anymore. They want your money. So that means they want you to put up ads. And so invest in ads. But if you invest in ads, choose your partner very, very carefully. Unfortunately, I've seen way too many examples where even the biggest agencies work for companies, and it hurts me when I see how much money is being wasted. It really hurts me. And the second aspect that I would really advise people is own your data, right? So whatever advertising you do, own your advertising account, own your Google Analytics account, whatever you use, have admin access. That's super, super important. So it's some basic things, but if you get them right, the rest is much easier.
Thank you, Pamela. Thank you. Sina, any remarks of yours? How important is it to adapt campaign styles to African conditions? You have lived in the United States, in Paris.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's extremely important to adapt campaigns because different audiences have different cultures, different perceptions, different understandings of campaigns. And what one campaign that works in the States may not work in Nigeria. Having lived in 3 different markets, it's obvious that if global brands do not localize their content, I mean, your content should still have the same international standard, but when speaking to different audiences, it's very important to localize the campaigns.
Thank you, Sina. Maybe still a brief question to Felix. Felix, what would you say we have heard already earlier before that you rate the relationship between effort and result of social media marketing very highly in Africa. Maybe an additional question. What would you say are the 2 most critical factors for a successful social marketing campaign in Africa? What are your tips?
Okay, this is a broad question. Say, first of all, then I would make differences because talking about Africa and all over Africa, I would say, for example, Kenya has to be handled differently like Egypt. These are different countries and also different languages, and you have to have different approaches. So what I say is, as a must, is first of all, understand the country you want to deal with. First, you have to get some in-depth, not just what's the population is not enough. You have to understand a bit more. The best is to get the feeling, to have been there, talked to the people, yeah, or at least chat with the people over there from abroad. But then you can better understand how you can really find the right touch for the social media, because
tailor-made. You have to tailor-make your campaign.
Yes,
to the country where you launch it.
There is no suit which fits everyone.
Yeah. I think with that, I would really like to wrap up our panel. Yeah, thank you, Felix. I think with that, let's wrap up this panel. I believe we have heard that social media marketing in Africa can be and is very effective as far as cost and results are concerned. The ratio between cost and results is concerned. It should be tailor-made. There is no one fits all. Should be tailor-made to the individual markets. That also means you would most probably require local partners who have expertise of social media marketing in those markets, who would bring you into contact with influencers. We have heard influencers are a big part of the game, not only in Africa, most probably all over the world, but especially in Africa. My appeal to our audience: think social media marketing in Africa, make use of social media marketing in Africa. And with that, I would like to thank our panelists and of course also our audience, especially our audience, for having been with us. I hope our panel has helped you to get a better idea of what can be done with social media marketing on the African continent. And we hope to be of service to you whenever you want to do more in the West and Central African markets. Thank you.